A very good morning to our viewers all across the world. Welcome to your Poetic Interlude on the Weekend Show. My name is Emeka Ozurumba, and today I have with me live from Canada, Mr. David Leo Sirius. Mr. David Leo Sirius is a Canadian-American poet, published 150 times in 25 countries. His work has been translated into 13 languages, such as Hindi, Bengali, French, Spanish, Greek, Romanian. He hosts Spoken Word Online, the Zoom continuation of Spoken Word Paris. His first collection of poems is titled Humble Doves and was dedicated to pigeons and doves because he's a humanitarian. Good morning, Mr. David. Can you hear me? Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, thank you. I'm
Yeah,
right here.
yeah. How are you, Mr. David?
Mighty fine.
Thanks for coming on the program because in Canada now it's about 3 a.m. So thanks for honoring the weekend show. You're going to be reading us two of your poems. Can you read us some of your poems, Mr. David?
Absolutely. So the
Okay.
first poem is called Turning.
All right,
I wrote
turning.
it 10 years ago,
Okay.
and it starts with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. I can share screen if you like, but it might be
No,
better to
you could just
flow
read it.
into.
You could just read it.
Perfect. Turning.
Okay.
And Mahatma Gandhi said, "It is not so difficult to endure bullets in your chest, but it is extremely difficult to work daily on a schedule, to fight with yourself at every moment, and in this way to purify yourself." The sky slowly lowers its gaze, handed to a row of old indigo windows. Time conserves its endless strength, converses with each passerby sacred words and arcane signs, intimating times of rough good fortune. I am now unreachable to all but the lowest heavens. Seconds beat against my brow, willing a spiraling universe. These cars create hypnotic quiet, wise machine and its lilting roll. The river speaks unintelligibly, and bridges tread water always. Wooden cross upon my tongue haunts my speech with melodies of sorrow swallowed and transformed by words of wood that burn and lighten. Silence spoken to hours found in time to be devoured. Now night envelops every eye, tiny globes in sacrifice. Windows drink the darkest wine. Luminous form the human face, in shadow lit, a lasting ember. The skin of counting, canvas stage, minute months draw time's travels. Roads revolve round the planet, clouds pursuing at their own pace. I walk abstract edges of falling hills, lit green crosses, glass roofed aquamarine door of the train station Gare de Boulanger, red, yellow, white on pine colored trellises, crescent moon cast in silver as cafe customers unroll their tongues or steep in silence and conjure clouds to crowd themselves into one sculpture. The radio center, its circular structure, embraces Mahatma's human truth, not the absolute, which remains the same. Human truth changes every day. I remember learning to fall without resistance, landing gently on padded floors, nothing in hand to prevent me from rising again. Black pearlescent scent of espresso welcomes me back. Even the dark shimmers violet. Everything's turning. Time
All right.
is awake throughout this night
I
and
will
through
interject.
all hours.
Okay, Mr.
That's
David.
it.
Mr. David.
Four more lines.
Mr.
Yes,
David, I wanted to ask you also, because this poem is so aesthetic and so lovely. I wanted to ask you about your podcast also, where you feature poets on your program, because you have an open mic program. So, could you tell me a little about your podcast? Because this poem is so inspirational. So, I want to also understand what motivates you towards such aesthetic poetry.
absolutely. When I lived in Paris, I used to host a second a sister open mic to Spoken Word Paris, which I went to every week like church. So I wanted to start my own, and we had poets coming in to Paris from everywhere in the world, and I would invite them to read and do a featured performance. And of course, it's an open mic. People love that platform where you go to a show and you can perform as well. So it's exciting. So, Spoken Word Paris, the Zoom version is what I call Spoken World Online. And it happens once a week, and we can maybe post more about that on your Facebook page.
Okay, that's so
It's a
nice.
one.
Your book is Humble Dose. Can you tell us where to get your books, where we could get your books, where Nigerians can reach your book if they want to read it?
Absolutely. So, aside from several bookstores in person and on websites in different countries like Denmark, for example, it can be bought on Amazon.com. And if you just put the title in, Humble Doves is one word. I'll show you the cover in a moment. And you search for that. There's only one Humble Doves out there.
because
Poems to
because
pigeons
it sounds
as
very
well.
lovely. Humble Dose. It sounds very lovely. Humble Dose. So
Thank
I'm so
thank you.
happy. I'm so happy that you're actually giving Nigerians this insight and you're actually bringing it to fore. So one other question I wanted to ask you was, how did you get the title Humble Doves? Because your poems were dedicated to doves and pigeons. So you're such a humanitarian. So why do you write poems to pigeons and doves?
I found them to be fascinating characters, and I projected human qualities on them. These pigeons in the book are fashion conscious Parisians. They're always looking for food. They have their own lives. For example, cheering up homeless people by just being around parks. And so, if pigeons are a kind of dove, I call them humble doves. They're
All right, that's so
their own
lovely.
bird.
That's so nice. I mean, you doing poems to pigeons and that, and doves and humanity. Thank you so much, Mr. Dave, for coming on the program. I really do appreciate your time and your expertise. Thank you so much, Mr. David. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Yes,
all
take
right,
care.
all right. Thank you.
Bye
All
bye.
right, we've just been live from Canada. You know, we've been talking to Mr. David Leo Sirius, been telling us about his book, Humble Dose, and about poetry in general. So I just want to urge you to go to Amazon and get the book. My lovely audience all across the world, I hope you've enjoyed watching your Poetic Intel on the Weekend Show. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned because we have more fascinating segments coming up for you on the Weekend Show.